this is a show about indulging in this crazy thing we call life. All right, you guys, hello and welcome back to a brand new week and a new Tuesday. And I'm actually just going to be here on the mic all alone. But first, I have to tell you, we have a brand new camera. So if you're watching, you can see me nice and crisp and clear. And if you are listening at all, I have a phone call on this thing. And I'm actually, hold on one second, on the air right now. But I would like to just let everybody know that during the breaks, you're going to start hearing, not during my breaks, but during the non-commercial breaks on the station, you're going to start hearing some indie music. So all of you artists who would like to be considered to have your music on, let me know. But I want to say how excited I am because the music that was just playing is actually my wonderful assistant's music. So Alexis Murine. So if you listen to some of that, it's really fun, kind of Iggy Poppy. Really, but female version. But yeah, really, really cool. So you have to take a listen. And to those of you, I'm just going to adjust. Sorry, you guys. By the way, great dress, right? Thank you to Pinup Girl Boutique again. PinupGirlClothing.com. Make sure you check them out. But yes, so it's kind of exciting that we get to have a forum and a platform for people to exhibit new music. And obviously, we're reaching a lot of listeners. And I just wanted to let all of you guys know that there's going to be an additional, thanks, there's going to be an additional show now on Thursdays from 5 to 6 that I'm going to be working on with the boys here, and it's going to be under the NBC umbrella. So this is a big opportunity, lots of things happening, lots of big changes. Don't forget that we also have the big Pourvu event coming up, and you're really not going to get your money better spent. If anybody who is in LA knows that a single drink can cost $18. So add food to that, you're looking at least a $70 meal if you do it upright. However, if you come on March 13th, show up at 8 o'clock, prepare to stay all day, I would love to have you. $50 will get you in the door, all you can drink. Live music from Sadie and the Blue Eyed Devils, hanging out with just a bunch of really, really great people. And hopefully we'll do a little broadcast while we're there. It's just an opportunity to have a great night out. It's a Wednesday night. And if you've never been to Pourvu, it is one of the most beautiful, fun venues in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And it is like you've walked into France 1930s. And it's just amazing. It's one of the incredible properties by the Houston brothers. So I would highly recommend that everyone go online right now, and you can actually go to atodmagazine.com. That's atodmagazine.com. And on the right sidebar on that homepage, you will see ticket information. Go ahead and click there and follow that link. Follow that link to purchase your tickets. But you have to purchase them. There's not going to be any sold at the door. So this is an event we would like to shut down the place and have it completely private and closed off. And so you can invite anybody you want. There is no restrictions, but just make sure everybody gets their tickets before March 8th. And gosh, sorry, you guys. That's not fun on the air. But anyways, I just wanted to say that. There you go. I guess I should look at the camera more instead of looking at my notes. So I'll try and talk to you like you guys are out there and prepare for my TV show that's definitely coming. So just watch. Give me a year and we'll get a TV show going, maybe less. Right, and I'm going to bring everybody. Everybody's coming with me. Alan's going to be like, no, I'm not going. But there'll be a lot of good pay, right? Hey, less stress, more creativity. We'll all be happy. Everybody over there. Phil, everybody, we're going to have a good time pretty soon. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that. And if you guys get a chance, please make sure you listen to the Three Guys Rant radio show that is now also going to be moving, and it will be Thursdays 5 to 6. So please check them out every single week. Really cool guys. Show just kind of talks about absolutely everything and anything. So I really, gosh, only 4 minutes. I feel like I've been talking for 15. I'm encouraging all of you guys to call in today because it is just me and it's fun to talk to you guys. And I know everybody's a little bit timid. So honestly, you could disguise your voice. You could have an accent. You could try out your sexy voice. You could talk whatever you want. I really don't care. You can give me a fake name, but let's talk about whatever you want to talk about today because I don't really get to do this very often. So I'm just going to touch on kind of my incredible week. So my week, as I mentioned, I had gone to some Oscar events last week, and they are always my favorite things to do. For one, the documentaries that I went to, let's try that again. On Wednesday, I went to the Academy Foundation, the Samuel Goldwyn Theater, and it was honoring the documentary shorts that were nominated this year in the Academy Awards. And I do want to say congratulations to Innocente, because it is one of the most profoundly beautiful stories. And the girl that is the focus of the film is a 15-year-old young girl who calls herself Innocente. She was homeless and an immigrant. And at one point, her grandmother had actually told her, hey, you know what? You're going to have to be on your own because I can't take care of you. And so she was living on the streets, and then she would go and stay inside a museum, and they would give her this freedom, or an art school, and they would give her this freedom to create. And she is really a talented artist. And what's amazing is that in this short, she has this moment where she's talking about a dream that she has, and the way that they shot it was just so beautiful. But it's this dream that she has of being at the beach, and she gets kind of lost in this conversation. She has this dream about being on the beach, and that she's just got her hands in the water, and she looks back, and her husband is there, and he loves her completely. And so that's really telling, just kind of really what she needs and how much love this girl needs and how worthy she actually is of having it. And she really is. So I'm wishing her just an incredible life. But in this scene where she's talking about this dream she has, she's talking about feeling the love from her husband, and that she's just got her hand in the water, and then this massive whale comes up in the water, and she's completely fearless, just totally unafraid of this beautiful creature and in awe of it. And if you see her talking about this on camera, your heart just sort of bleeds a little bit, because you think, gosh, we all understand that emotion, that desire for love, but she's just, all she wants to do is create and just give this world love. And her art really, really shows that. And there was this one piece called The Blue, and it's based on the dream. And she actually has this massive amount of, I don't really know kind of what they actually used to put the paint in, but it's this big, deep well. And she's just making this wonderful blue color to start her painting. And it ends up being this gorgeous heart. And just the way that she paints, and she just spills paint and then just kind of goes from there. And it's very unrehearsed and completely raw. And anyways, it's so worthy of the Oscar. So I'm really, really, really excited that it won. I also have to say that there are so many great films that were also nominated. One, let's see. Oh, okay. The other ones was King's Point, Mondays at Racine, Open Heart, and Redemption. And all of them, I have to say, while the documentary features were truly profound and moving as well, it was really the shorts to me that I think stole the show, which I said. And this whole event was moderated by Michael Moore, and I touched on that a little bit last week, but didn't get to fully touch on that. And having Michael Moore there for one was just, that's like the master of documentary stories. So, and very controversial work that he does. And, he makes no apology for it, which is, anybody who's a writer or in film or creative in general, it's kind of nice to see somebody just kind of go for it and not apologize. So he was the moderator, and I will just give you a little bit of background on each film. King's Point is a very, very touching and very difficult short to watch, because it's about these people that are senior citizens living in a senior citizen home, and it's just their reality, dying and being old and having ailments and all of these things, and how many of them don't have family that comes see them. Sorry, I have to keep looking at this camera. Many of them don't have family that comes see them, and it's heartbreaking, because, some of them, it's just a sad tale, but then on the flip side of it, some of them have such a wonderful, dark sense of humor that it's refreshing in a weird way. So if you get a chance, make sure you guys go see all these movies. All of them, I think, with the exception of one, will be on HBO. The other one is Mondays at Racine. And I'll tell you the filmmakers really quick. Innocente was Sean Fine and Andrea Neesfine. And then King's Point was Sarah Gilman and Jed Wider. And then Mondays at Racine is Cynthia Wade and Robin Honan. And Cynthia actually created this story based on seeing her mother struggle with breast cancer and how hard it was to see her go through all of that, losing her hair, losing everything. And Mondays at Racine is just based on this salon in Long Island that every Monday, these women who are undergoing radiation and chemotherapy, and men as well, men and women who are losing their hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, the whole thing. And it's so painful for them to have to go through this experience. And, physically, it's just really hard for them to see that. And it gives them this sense of, somehow it's the sense of belonging. Like, it's okay that they're losing their hair. And the stylists there are just so empathetic and benevolent, and it's lovely to see, honestly. But you will cry for sure. I'm just letting you know that the stories are touching, and just to see people go through that. One of them was this couple, and this husband is talking about his wife, and he's just in tears talking about how the woman that he married, it's so hard to see her go away and know that something's eating her away inside. And anyways, I know this is a heavy topic, but it does make me wonder how we can have so much money in this world and we still can't figure out how to cure cancer. So that's that. The other one was called Open Heart. All of these, by the way, are very polarizing of kind of where we are in society. Every single film, including the foreign language films, the underlying message is hope, which kind of tells you where everybody's at anywhere in the world, regardless of where they come from, how much money they have, what their upbringings were, their political or social status, their religious backgrounds. It didn't matter. The whole thing was about hope, which was pretty impacting. So the other one is called Open Heart by Keith Davidson and Corey Shepard Stern. And this one was about this couple, not couple, like they weren't together, but this duo that they traveled to the Sudan, and they met these children that had major heart defects, and they needed surgery desperately, but they didn't have the money. And they were at these different treatment centers, and a lot of these people had to travel from Rwanda to go to these treatment centers, and then they were flown to different places because they didn't have the funding. The most beautiful part of that movie is that, I'm talking kind of a little away from my mic, sorry. The most beautiful part of that story was actually that Rwanda after seeing that movie, has devoted a very, very large amount of money and funding to create a center in Rwanda and the Sudan to help these children who have the desperate need for heart surgeries, really anybody in need, but it's going to focus on the pediatric heart patients. So, anybody who says one person can't make a difference, one person made a huge difference. So the last one is called Redemption. And that is going to lead me to Thursday's topic, because Thursday we're actually going to hopefully have Andreas Dangond here again to talk about a little bit of a heavier topic of hunger. And if for whatever reason he's not able to make it, I'm going to reach out to some of my friends that work at the Los Angeles Rescue Mission, the Pasadena Rescue Mission, Project Angel Food, which is where we're going to donate $5 when we have the event. Oh, okay. We got to take a break. I'll be right back, you guys. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, this is your host, Dawn Garcia, on ATOD Radio, savoring life one moment at a time.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
And I'm Kelly V. Dolan.
And you can listen to us every Thursday at 2 p.m. right here on KCAA Radio. What do we talk about, Kelly?
We talk about everything from entertainment to business and tech, and we have a few laughs in between.
And we dance a whole lot. In fact, if you want to watch us every day, you can go to AaronandKellyLive.com. That's AaronandKellyLive.com.
Check it out.
This is Anthony Sykes, your host for Sykes Accounting and Consulting radio show, where we help small businesses grow and give you tax tips every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Catch us here on rantradionetwork.com. Thank you.
We are the Three Guys every Monday live from 6 to 7 p.m.
You can call us at 855-69 The Three Guys.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's, The other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-693-GUYS, G-U-Y-S, and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
This segment has been brought to you by Coco Cafe. It's a cafe latte coconut water with espresso. And I came across this wonderful little drink just recently, and it has to be one of the best things I've ever had. I'm pretty obsessed with cocoa water and espresso, so the thought of it together was a little bit, I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but my gosh, let me tell you, it's super tasty. It's made with natural coconut water, a strong shot of espresso, and a splash of reduced fat milk. You can visit them online for more information at drinkcococafe.com. Once again, I want to thank everyone at Coco Cafe for being a sponsor of this radio show. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. This is A Taste of Dawn. I'm your host, Dawn Garcia, and this is a show about indulging in this crazy thing we call life. All right, you guys, we are back on the air, and I have a caller. So I'm going to get Chris on the line. Hello, this is Dawn.
Hi, Dawn. Hey, it's Chris.
Hi.
And,
how are you?
Hi. I'm doing well. Looks like you're doing really well, and congratulations on the show and everything else has been going well for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard but good work.
Yes. Exhausting.
Yeah.
Yes. But totally worth it. Absolutely worth
Oh,
it.
for sure. It's worth it for all of us. Brings a little bit more culture to it.
Well, I love to hear that. Thank you for that feedback. Sometimes you just need to, make sure you're doing your job.
Yeah, well, think about what's out there.
That's, you know what? I'm going to agree with that and leave it there.
So, it's a breath of fresh air. But, hey, I just wanted to ask you,
yes.
Okay, you personally, what were you doing before you obviously got into radio and everything, but before you had your daughter, what were you doing? What is your, kind of like, how you got to where you're at? Because, like, basically career changes, kind of give me some insight, because I might be looking at a career change very soon.
Okay, well, before I had my daughter, that was a specific, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
what were you doing before that?
When I started out, I was, I knew at a very young age, I always wrote, but I actually never, ever imagined that I would be a writer, or for sure not on the radio or not on TV or anything. I wanted to be a makeup artist, and I wanted to get an Oscar for makeup, so I took cosmetology school, got my license, and then graduated. And as soon as I graduated from high school, I went to Paramount Studios and Sunset Gower Studios, which is on the Paramount lot. And I took more classes and learned special effects and prosthetics, and was very lucky and got a job doing a Snapple commercial, and then kept working for quite a while and worked for some really great people. And then I transitioned from there, and this is kind of when I knew that my life was not going to go exactly as I planned. I had an opportunity to do makeup, and I was actually all scheduled to do makeup on the new Star Wars movies because I had met Rick McCallum and George Lucas, and I thought, okay, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And then, and then I had another just some things happen, and ended up going into special effects, like actual effects. I was the only woman at the time. I was welding and using chop saws, and they were like, "Who is this little girl coming in here?" So, so I was lucky, and then I did that, and then I ended up. One of my nieces was diagnosed with leukemia, and so I knew I could not do the job in Australia or anywhere. I just didn't want to leave her, and she was very young, 4 months diagnosed, and that really turned things around, because at that moment I really started to write, and then she ended up passing away, and I just had a really hard time with that, and then ended up deciding that I really wanted to focus on writing, and so I went to school to go to write, and then I worked in advertising for 5 years at BET, and then in the process of that had gone on a trip and went to go see one of my girlfriends, who we were actually pitching her treatment for the Indiana Jones movie. I was pitching it to Rick McCallum because I knew him from before, and went and pitched it on her behalf. And while I was there, we went to Sonoma and went to Francis Ford Coppola's vineyard, which was in Sonoma at the time when it was Neebom Coppola. And he was actually there. He was there. And all these people were kind of crowding around this man, and I was writing, just kind of writing about what was happening, the scene, whatever. And somebody asked to borrow my pen. And I have to tell you the long version, sorry, because it's not that easy of a story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So somebody came to borrow my pen, and I just remember saying, okay, it took us forever to find this stupid pen. Like, we had looked everywhere. Neither one of us had a pen. We had to go inside, find somebody that gave us a pen that was not going to be greedy with the pen. Got our one pen.
Right.
So this person asked for to take the pen to get an autograph, and I was like, but you have to bring it back. You promised me that you're going to bring this back. Obviously, the guy was probably enamored with Coppola, did not bring my pen back. So finally, the crowd just kind of dies down. Everybody starts to go in because at the time it was at this beautiful location where there was a museum, a film museum, and stuff inside. And here was Frances sitting outside. And I looked at my friend, and she looks at me, and I see my pen on the table. And she's like, no, no, no. I said, yeah, I'm going to go get my pen back. And so I walked over to him, and he looked at me, and he says, can I help you? And I said, yes. He says, do you want a picture? I said, no. He says, did you want an autograph? Did you want an autograph? And I said, no. And he's like, well, what can I do for you? And I said, I just want my pen back. So I took my pen back, and I'm sure because I didn't want something, it was immediately intriguing. However, my whole career has been, I'm very bold. I went exactly to the people that I wanted to work for and figured the worst they're going to tell me is off, right? So I finished writing my little piece and very boldly wrote to Frances. And then I signed Dawn Elizabeth Garcia. And I walked, my friend was like, there's no way. I said, yeah, I wrote it about what was happening. I'll just give it to him. So I did. I gave it to him, and I said, you could have it. I walked away, and he read it, folded it, and put it in his pocket. And I will never forget that. That's just, that whole scene plays very fresh. But then a few minutes later, the guy that was there working, not really, there was no servers, but he, of course, had somebody waiting on him. This man comes over to our table and gives me this copy of Zoetrope All Story, flips it over, and points and says, someone thinks that you should enter this contest. And I was like, okay. Wow. And it was it was the second year of doing their Belize writing workshop, and it was through Sam Adams. And at the time, they had already chosen their winner, but I was one of 15 that was accepted to go. So, and I will never forget that because you had to raise like $5,000. It was ridiculously expensive, and I knew this was my opportunity. And I'd written a short story about this girl, ironically, that wanted to have a magazine, and it's all sort of manifest destiny. So needless to say, I went, and it was, I sold cookies. I did whatever I could possibly do. I sold my furniture. I did anything that I could do to get to this trip. And it changed my life. The editor there was Amy Bloom, and she said, this is all you should be doing. And Frances thinks this is all you should be doing. And I thought, okay. So I didn't make any money, of course, for a very long time. But I just kept writing, and then I got accepted the second year, and then I started to publish some things, and then I started a blog during the, I started to get a little bit more active, becoming more vocal about kind of my political stance and my social stance, and I wanted to come up with some platform for people to just feel like we were connected. And I didn't do it consciously, but anyway, so that's kind of how it started, and then the magazine, after I had my daughter, I had gotten hired before I had to move to Orange County. I had gotten my dream job. I was was getting hired to work at New Line as a script reader and a writer for them. And at the time I was getting married, and my ex-husband was going to Orange County, so I had to give up the opportunity. And I thought it was the worst thing ever, but it's been a blessing, really, because then I had my daughter, and then after having my daughter, the big elections happened, and it just, I don't know, I became very outspoken about a lot of the equal rights issues that were coming out, and and so that kind of led to a blog, and then I created this blog, and then a friend of mine is a professor at Cal Poly Baltimore, and I became required text for the poli-sci department there during that time. And anyways, and so I started to go, okay, I have a little bit of a responsibility here, and then went through my divorce and thought maybe I lost my voice a little bit. And then that turned into some, it's like all these wonderful things just sort of presented themselves. I just started writing a screenplay and got an opportunity there and just finally finished. And now I'm doing my second edit on that. And then the magazine 2.5 years ago was a dare. And that just sort of evolved. And the radio show is kind of the same thing. They found me last December and asked me if I would be willing to call in or come in. And I came into the Three Guys Rant radio show, and, I had like 5 minutes, I think, or something on the air. And then they asked me to call in again, and I did. And then they offered me a show. So
that's got to feel good, though. I mean, with Francis Ford Coppola doing what he did, and then with the radio presenting itself, I mean, that has to feel pretty good.
You know what it does, and I'll tell you what, I have failed so miserably in my life so many times, and I'm so grateful because I have not, I've been given a lot of opportunities, and I'm grateful for that it's at least recognized. But ironically, I think the minute I realized I just wanted to do and create work that was for everybody else and not worry about what would happen with it either way, I think letting go of the stress of that allowed me to kind of, I don't know, just gave me a better platform really to do all of this. I mean, and all of this was so completely organic. I never knew what the radio show was going to be. I never imagined that I'd have one of my favorite bands of all time on, which 2 weeks ago, Shauna Halligan was on, and she's one of my favorite artists ever. And then Sebastian Younger.
Well, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah, and Sebastian Younger, who's somebody that I just admire and had the pleasure of meeting 2 years ago. I mean, all these things have just been very unexpected. And so I'm kind of going with it.
Okay, you're doing great. I mean, really, I'm a fan, obviously, on Facebook, and I'm a fan in general. So.
Well, okay, Nate, so what do you do?
Right now, I work in telecommunications.
Telecommunications.
So, yeah. So, but some things might be changing. So, I was just kind of want to pick your brain because you've obviously grown and you've obviously taken many different paths. And,
yes, I've done every job you could possibly imagine. Let's put it that way. In between film stuff, oh my God, done it all.
I believe,
and I'm fine with it.
And you're doing well. So I just want to pick your brain.
Yeah. So thank you. Well, will you keep me posted and let me know what endeavors you're looking into?
Absolutely, I will.
Okay.
I will. I'm just wide open right now, but it'll narrow, and generally things present themselves. So.
You know what? I'm a firm believer in that. Just put out whatever you want to happen. Really, just put it out there, and there will be moments where you freak out. Like I totally freak out and think, "Oh my God, it's not going to work. This isn't going to work. I'm going to fail." And then I have people around me, like today, Arvin made me call my stuff, and he's like, "It's going to be fine. It'll all be fine." And I think you just have those moments, and you just have to trust that you're doing what you want to do, and that it'll all fall into place. So
absolutely. Well, thank you very much, and I will. I'll keep you informed. I'll keep you in touch.
Yeah, I'm glad you called in. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
All right, have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Okay, bye.
All right.
All right, you guys, we actually are going to have to take a quick break. That was so fun. So you guys keep calling. It's nice to have callers. And I won't get too caught up because we have 40 seconds left. Thank you, Alan. We're really good on this communicating now. Before I was always running over. But yeah, please call in. And I actually have a question for you guys. So before we go to the break, I want you to think about one thing. And then I will get back to talking about some of the Oscar stuff. Think about if you could do any job in the world that you wanted to do and you didn't have any restrictions or any fear about it. Not that we all have some healthy fear, but what would it be? So if you have a chance, can you just, if you're on Facebook and you're listening, make sure you text me or instant message me. Same with if you're on Ustream. So 10 seconds. I feel like I'm on the countdown, like the rocket countdown. All right, you guys, I will be back on the other side of the break, and I'm looking forward to it. So thanks again, Chris, for calling. It's nice. That was nice. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, this is your host, Dawn Garcia, on ATOD Radio, savoring life one moment at a time.
Hi, I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez.
And I'm Kelly V. Dolan.
And you can listen to us every Thursday at 2 p.m. right here on KCAA Radio. What do we talk about, Kelly?
We talk about everything from entertainment to business and tech, and we have a few laughs in between.
And we dance a whole lot. In fact, if you want to watch us every day, you can go to AaronandKellyLive.com. That's AaronandKellyLive.com.
Check it out.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
We are the Three Guys every Monday live from 6 to 7 p.m.
You can call us at 855-69-THE-3-GUYS.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's, the other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69-3-GUYS, G-U-Y-S, and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
This segment has been brought to you by Coco Cafe. It's a cafe latte coconut water with espresso. And I came across this wonderful little drink just recently, and it has to be one of the best things I've ever had. I'm pretty obsessed with cocoa water and espresso, so the thought of it together was a little bit, I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but my gosh, let me tell you, it's super tasty. It's made with natural coconut water, a strong shot of espresso, and a splash of reduced fat milk. You can visit them online for more information at drinkcococafe.com. Once again, I want to thank everyone at Coco Cafe for being a sponsor of this radio show. Thanks so much.
What's up, party people? We are E-Mix Radio. I'm DJ Juice.
And I'm DJ Pac-Man. Are you guys ready for E-Mix Radio? Juice, what's up for Mondays?
We have a lineup of DJs every single Monday to rock the house with us. When should people join us, Pac-Man?
Make sure to join us every Monday at 9 p.m. to listen in on our DJs and the latest hot topics.
If y'all want to listen to us, visit rantradionetwork.com.
And call us at 855-693-4897 for requests or shout-outs. Let's go.
Close your eyes in Chicago, and you can hear the sound of zebra braying in Africa. Look hard out your window in D.C., and you can see the snow-covered peaks of the Andes. Stand on a corner in L.A. and feel the hot wind of the Sahara brush across your face. The world is that small. We are that connected. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together, making it so simple for you to make a difference. Because we are many, and we are one. Please visit us at earthshare.org to learn more. Earthshare. One environment. One simple way to care for it all. A public service message from Earthshare and the Ad Council.
Hi, everyone. This is A Taste of Dawn. I'm your host, Dawn Garcia, and this is a show about indulging in this crazy thing we call life. Hi, you guys. I am back, and so fun to have a caller, so thanks, Chris, again. You guys are welcome to call me, 855-693-4897. But if you're actually in Europe or abroad and you would like to talk to me, I am going to give you a new phone number to call. You can call me. Hold on one second, because I actually got it. Hold on just a second. See, this is what happens when you're trying to multitask. The number is, for those of you in Europe, oh, no, I don't have it now, 562. Do you have it again? Hold on. So sorry, you guys. 562-907-0048. Unfortunately, it is not a free call. We will have to eventually work out how to do Skype, but we don't have that all worked out yet. Sorry, Ben. But yeah, if you guys want to call me and you're in Canada or the U.S. or Puerto Rico, so Mike, if you're listening, 855-693-4897. But I want to get back really quick before I totally lose my train of thought to talk about these movies. The one that I wanted to talk about was Redemption. And Redemption comes out of New York. And that, let's see where I got that, by John Alpert and Matthew O'Neill. That was one of the most interesting films one of the most interesting films I've probably ever seen in terms of perspective. Because of the economy and everything that's happened. So sorry, my phone is loud and it's not off. So I'm going to change that right now. But okay, so it takes place in New York, and with all the economy the way that it is, and then you throw in Sandy and a very, very harsh winter. For those of you back east, I know that you're having a hard time right now, and the job market has not been good anywhere in this country, but I feel like New Yorkers have really felt it the most. And Los Angeles probably, or California, the two countries that are supposed to have the most money, who have the faultiest financial systems and probably the biggest loss of jobs and unemployment. But and I'm not giving that as a direct fact. I'm just saying. But anyways, this movie was about these gentlemen and women on the streets, not living on the streets. Some of them live on the streets, but some of them are actually just, they lost everything. And so they collect cans and bottles and redeem them, and that's how they make a living. And they're actually called canners, and they collect cans and bottles, and they go around town, and there are tons of them throughout the city. Like, you'll actually see how they've organized what they do. It's very task-oriented, and they work sometimes 12 to 14, sometimes 20 hours a day, no matter what the weather conditions. And they have these big, humongous, like, you know, the big street-sized trash can bags filled with bottles and stuff. But at one point, Walter, this gentleman, Walter, who unfortunately we found out was killed in the train station, he's walking around the streets and he's just talking to people. And he used to be a line cook and lost his job. And he goes to this really high-end chocolate shop. And it looks like it might be on like Madison Avenue or something. It was really high-end, gorgeous chocolate shop. It was definitely in Soho. Or somewhere. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I'm really not a New Yorker, and I'll probably just offend everybody if I get it wrong. But really high-end chocolate store, let's just put it that way. And he looks in the window, and there's a box of chocolates. And he, rather than telling us how much it costs, he says, see that box of chocolates right now? It'd be 450 cans. And to put that into perspective, I thought, wow, who knows how long it takes for him to collect 450 cans. And all he would get for 450 cans would be this box of chocolates. And it was a very big statement, I thought, about kind of how wasteful we are and how resourceful people can be. I think that was more inspiring because we've all been down and out. I mean, God knows I've struggled. I'm a single mother, so life is never that easy. And I have it still better than most, even in my worst situations. And no matter what your situation, good or bad, no matter how broke you are, how hard things are, I think it's truly telling to know that there's a spirit inside of us that will fight to keep going, to make money, to make things happen, to just survive. I think, I really find it refreshing to see people who are good in survival mode. I know for myself, I'm way better when I'm forced to survive. So, I will be very resourceful. And I think we all sometimes might need to get a little bit knocked off our seats to remember what matters in life. And that was a very, very, very important movie to me, Redemption. So please, again, you guys, all these movies, they're going to be available on HBO. Some of them are already available on Netflix, so go check them out. I will have a list of them again. My wonderful assistant, Alexis, has given me everything that I needed, so yay, thanks. I do want to talk about, however, Saturday, because Saturday was so awesome. It's really my favorite event every year. Last year was the first year I'd missed in 7 years, but it's the Foreign Film Symposium, and it's always moderated by Mark Johnson, who recently produced all of the Chronicles and Narnia films. He's one of the nicest gentlemen, really one of the most prevalent producers, I think, in the industry outside of maybe like a Kathleen Kennedy. But he really is very, very important to the film industry. And I've met him so many times, and he is just lovely. So I'm actually going to be applying to be an Academy member. So Mark, if you're listening, look for my application. But I do want to say that the movies that were picked this year could not have been more different, which is lovely to see because that means that we're kind of all open and all over the map with our emotions. Hi, Cheryl. Just saw that. Hey, Cheryl Alexander, by the way. Awesome girl, awesome lady, and so supportive. So thank you. And hopefully you get my message, Cheryl, about the hotel situation for the Porvu event. So those of you who want to be in LA, who don't live in LA, but want to stay in LA for Wednesday night's event on the 13th, just send me an email or let me know. Go to atodmagazine.com, click on the contact button, and we'll make sure that we get you set up with some good hotels that are not going to be ridiculous. So aside from that, the foreign films that were nominated, one of which, that one was actually Amour. And I was able to see, oh, you don't have their names. That's too bad. Oh, you know what? I have it. Hold on. The Oscar folders here. Give me 1 second, because the filmmakers are really the directors or what is... Oh, where is it? I don't have it in this one. Shoot. I have to find it. I need the filmmakers' names, but Darn it. You'll have it? Okay, she's going to get it for me. But Amor, Michael is the filmmaker, and I just don't want to mispronounce his last name. So he is a brilliant filmmaker, makes no apologies for what he does, which I talked about this on my YouTube video. I know some of you already saw this, but Amor is this beautiful, beautiful story about two people who are older and aging, and I hate to say old because that's sort of irrelevant, but they're aging, and they're just this wonderful couple in love who really are at a very pivotal point in life where they're nearing the end of their life, and the wife has lost some of her mental capacity and can't remember things quickly, completely blanks out, and doesn't remember that she's just blanked out. And it's this tale of just what two people will do for love. It's very hard to watch because nobody wants to think about that. Again, I think we have this very big issue with mortality, but we're all going to die. It's inevitable. Nobody has an idea of when that's going to be. We can only hope that we live long enough to be old and ailing. And, if that's not a good message for you guys to be really enjoying every single second of your life and appreciate those people that are good to you, love the people that you love, and don't apologize for it or feel any kind of hesitation, because really this is it. And if you're not happy or you're wasting your time in the wrong situation, and I do not apply this to marriage, by the way, because marriage requires work. I mean, if you're dating somebody or you're just kind of biding your time, don't do it. Be bold, be brave, know what you want and be okay with that, because this is it. As far as I know, we're not getting a second chance. So, and if you are getting a second chance, please come back and tell us how it goes. But I do want to talk about that because I think that's a really important topic. And in today's society, the way people treat love in general, it's like an iPhone app. We can delete it or upload another one or give up whenever we feel like it or just not fight. And I think it's pathetic, honestly. So that's my stance on that. I think that we need to do way better and stop being so sex-craved, crazy, living like we're in the Roman times, and appreciate actual human beings. Have some respect for each other. Have some respect for yourselves. Just be out there and realize the value of another person. And that goes for yourself in the way that you treat others as well, and the way that you let others treat you. I think that we can do better. I think that there really are positive relationships, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but this movie really kind of drives that point home that if you make that commitment, stick with it. You don't give up. And coming from somebody who's been divorced, trust me, I do believe that you should never quit. And you got to fight for what matters. And sometimes it doesn't work, and that's okay too. But don't totally give up on what matters to you and what's important. And be a little okay with being a hopeless romantic. And I know I'm a huge dreamer, and I'm sure people think I'm stupid because I believe in it. And I shouldn't maybe, but I do. So Amor is one of those movies that just sort of reinstills my faith in good old-fashioned love and relationships. And then the next movie is Kon-Tiki, which is a very adventurous film. And I'm really hoping that if you guys are listening out there, the cast that I got to meet, the directors, the cast, all of you, I really want you to come on my show before you head back to Norway. You can call in or whatever, but I just think that your film and story is definitely a story worth telling. It's a historical story. And it is about, I don't know how you say it, Thor Heyerdahl. And it's just they call him Tora is how they refer to him. But he did this, we had 2 minutes left. Okay. He did this long journey, and he basically made a raft, and he set sail from Peru to Polynesia and encountered whale sharks and all kinds of just truly horrific environmental issues. But there's such a lightheartedness to their approach. And the thing about Tora is he always had this optimistic view of really what they're doing. He never gave up. He never quit, no matter how bad the conditions were and how annoyed people were with each other on that raft. I mean, there's 5 people on this raft. That's it. Communicating with the outside world, and they never gave up. And he always kept this wonderful way about him. And I think that was really, really fun to see, and really brilliant cast and so beautifully shot. Something like 500 different special effects segments that they did. That's a lot of editing and a lot of stuff. So considering the budget that they had, well done you. Then the next movie, and I have 1 minute left, so I'll just really quick. No from Chile, which stars Gael. See, I really need my list because I'm afraid I'm going to say everybody's names wrong, but I'll get back to that. But Gael Gabriel Garcia. I forget how you say his last name or his middle name, but another really brilliant actor who everything he does, everything he touches is worth watching. Truly one of the most talented actors, I think, of our time. Amores Perros and the bicycle. What is the movie? Oh, I forget the name of the movie. With Salma Hayek. It's great. It's with Salma Hayek. It's beautiful, beautiful. They make a mention anyways to Salma Hayek. It's the two boys who go on a long bicycle journey. Oh, it's a great foreign film. I have to remember the name of it. But anyways, talented actor. He's been in American films as well, but really extraordinary. So anything that he touches is pretty brilliant. But this movie takes place in Chile, and it's using advertising to liberate the Chileans during a very, very harsh dictatorship during the 80s. And it really did work. It's one of the most infamous advertising campaigns. So anyways, I will be back on the other side of the hour, on the other side of the break. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, this is your host, Dawn Garcia, on ATOD Radio, savoring life one moment at a time.
We are the Three Guys every Monday live from 6 to 7 p.m.
You can call us at 855-69 The Three Guys.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's, the other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69 Three Guys, Guys, and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
This segment has been brought to you by Coco Cafe. It's a cafe latte coconut water with espresso. And I came across this wonderful little drink just recently, and it has to be one of the best things I've ever had. I'm pretty obsessed with cocoa water and espresso, so the thought of it together was a little bit, I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but my gosh, let me tell you, it's super tasty. It's made with natural coconut water, a strong shot of espresso, and a splash of reduced fat milk. You can visit them online for more information at drinkcococafe.com. Once again, I want to thank everyone at Coco Cafe for being a sponsor of this radio show. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. This is A Taste of Dawn. I'm your host, Dawn Garcia, and this is a show about indulging in this crazy thing we call life. All right, you guys, we're back. And I just want to say, for those of you who listen to those commercials, this is actually what Coco Cafe looks like. And it sounds disgusting, but it's really, really good. It's like the espresso with just the perfect sweet. So I got to thank the guys at Coco Cafe for just providing us in the studio with all of this yummy, yummy product. And the event that's coming up, if you are interested in being a sponsor of the event and you want to have your product at the event, I do need you guys to call me. You can email me and I will say this on the air, so don't spam me. I'll just have you send it to Dawn, DAWN, at ATOD Plus. So that's DAWN at ATODPLUS.com. You can contact me on Facebook, Twitter. So Facebook is A Taste of Dawn. I'm sorry, Facebook.com/A Taste of Dawn, ATOD, and that's capitals at the end, so caps ATOD. And then, of course, Twitter is A Taste of Dawn. And I got to say, awesome. 15,000+ of you on Twitter. So what a far cry from the sad little 197 I had in the very beginning. So starting in September, I don't even think I had 400. So thanks so much, you guys, for supporting me. Same with Facebook. Oh, my gosh, I'm at 14,100, which is just... you don't even know how fortunate I feel that you guys, for one, even care what I'm doing and take an interest in it and just are so beyond supportive. It just makes a world of difference to everything that I'm doing and makes me want to work so much harder and make sure that I never compromise the quality or the content or the value of what I'm doing. I want to say too really quick, Matthew Dyson, if you're listening, I'm going to be posting his piece that he did. A really, really cool band. It's actually from San Francisco called the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. And they happen to be playing in the UK. And so he's my writer in the UK who gets to go on some wonderful events. But those of you who are in the UK, I would love for you to sponsor him as a writer because he's really an extraordinary talent, and invite him to your events. He's in London or based just in the UK, but he's not too far away from London. He's about an hour outside of London. So anything that you can do to encourage that kind of talent, I would be most grateful. And I will post his stuff and you can read it for yourself, but he's really a talented writer. And I'm also working on all these things for investors because, as you know, this company is growing a lot faster than I expected it to, which I am more than grateful for. So now I am looking to have long-term investors so that I can really take the magazine to the place that it needs to go, hire an ad sales team, hire a really great PR firm. So PR firms, if you're listening, I am also looking for publicists that I think would be the right fit for me and the company. But really the investors would help just build this company and take it to where it needs to go. So I want to hire writers and artists and musicians and have access to all of these great people because they're coming to me. And I just think that everybody deserves that voice. And those of you out there who think that your talent's going unnoticed, it's definitely not going unnoticed. I'm noticing, and we're going to make sure that the world sees it and that we get to share all of this great talent with everybody else. There's a lot to be said for really creative writers and musicians and artists and really even publicity because it's pretty amazing. And then I'm going to need a production crew because I think all these events, I would like to start getting some film footage of that. So investors, pay attention. It's totally worth the value and the time. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. But anyways, all the movies that were nominated, I'll say Amor, Kon-Tiki, let's see, I'm losing them here. No, which was another one that I was just talking about, which is Gabriel Garcia Bernal is who I was thinking of. And Motorcycle Diaries is the movie. And Y tu mama también. Great movie. Crazy, disturbing, and wild, and free and liberating. So watch it. And then A Royal Affair from Denmark was also nominated. And The War Witch from Canada. And The War Witch was probably one of the hardest movies I have ever seen. It's about this story of a woman in Rwanda and the Sudan who becomes a child soldier and has to kill her own parents. And it's her horrific story, but she tells everything from the narrative voice of her unborn child. She's telling this story of her life to her unborn child because her unborn child is a product of rape from the soldiers. And she's hoping that she will be able to love this child. And it really is like it's going to tear your heart out, but it's really important. And like I said, I think I've already said this before, but one of my biggest passion projects is trying to do something about the situation in Africa. It's the most neglected place in the world, and their civil unrest has just gone so unmet, and there's just never enough aid to help them, and they're dealing with things that they should not be dealing with, like malaria and things that are just completely curable and fixable. And I don't know why we don't pour our money in there. I mean, I do, because I don't think that governments think they have enough to gain, which is the most ridiculous thing, because humanity, pretty important thing to gain. Anyways, that's my political stance on that. So I was going to talk about relationships because I had listened to Ryan Seacrest, who, Brian, I got to say, you constantly inspire me to want to talk about all these crazy things that you talk about on your show. Even if I don't necessarily agree with the way you do it, I love that you are giving people this wonderful forum. And today this poor guy called in about having performance anxiety. And it really brought this topic up of, I think nowadays, like I was saying, everybody's got these wild ideas, and Facebook and all this sort of distant media helps people be a lot braver and more courageous in terms of how they approach women and men. And unfortunately, they become a little too careless, in my opinion, as well. But the one thing I've heard is, like, you go on a date, like you have all this crazy pent up passion. You feel so much chemistry with that person. And then you get down to the brass tacks and you're like, not so great. And I'm wondering what you do. And then on the flip side of it, if you have like crazy passion and it's amazing physically and you don't like the person at all, like you just have crazy passion. What do you do? Do you like, I know most people are like, whatever, who cares about the other stuff as long as my needs are being met. But I think there's got to be some internal struggle at that point, right? I mean, I'm not going to make her get on the air, but don't you agree? Right? You have to talk loud now because okay, this is Alexis, my assistant. So, and Alan, I know in the booth, right? Like, okay, Alan's a really good guy, loves his wife, supports his wife, and I'm sure he's tired sometimes because they've got, you know, a little one and a little one on the way. And I know that there are moments when life being married is just tough, right? But then you look at the single world, and I'm not so sure it's so great. You know, I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are like, you should go date, and I think why? You know, somebody got mad at me the other day because I made this comment about Dr. Ruth, who way back in the day said this comment that you knew everything that you needed to know about a person in 2 minutes, right? Well, this guy wrote me and was up in arms, calling me shallow. How could I say that? The funny thing is he made that comment in less than a minute. So he just proved my point that people make all their judgments in less than 2 minutes. But I do want to say, though, I think if you are paying attention, there are some really good people out there, but there's also a lot of like we all have such walls built up, and it makes dating very difficult. And but there's something to be said for opening car doors and being chivalrous and not just expecting the first date to end in bed. Like, I'm sorry to be the one to break everybody's perfect little idea that that's how things should go, but I don't think anybody's really feeling that great about themselves at the end of the day, including my guy friends who make it sound like it's all fun and games. And at the end of the day, they're like, but there's nothing to it. They don't feel that great. So it's not like it's just a guy-girl thing. I just would love for us to step it up. Be true gentlemen, be ladies. There's nothing wrong with going old school. And this is probably why I gear myself more towards the 20s and 30s and 40s, because while they had their own set of problems, there was some sense of chivalry, and a woman still had grace, and she could still cuss and be you know, one of the guys, but she didn't have to be so just crass and didn't have to like give it all up. So all I'm saying is, ladies, have some more respect for yourself too. And men, have respect for the ladies. And if they don't put out, that doesn't mean that you just ditch them. Maybe you could think about that for a second and think about if that was your daughter, would you be all right with that? And women, you kind of need to think about the same thing with the way you treat boys. Would you want a girl to treat your son like that? Because I'm guessing no. Even if you're too young to have children, you got to think a little bit along the terms of karma is not a farce. Karma's going to happen. So if you treat people bad, you're going to get the same in return. And I am a perfect example of that. I've made mistakes, and I can tell you that I've definitely seen karma happen. But anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. That was it. Really spam the gamut. Again, I want to mention the event on the 13th. You guys got to get your tickets. It's going to be so much fun, and it's just going to be relaxed, and, you know, it's a chance to dress nice. You don't have to go crazy. You don't need to go shopping if you don't have the money to go shopping. Just comb your hair, clean up, you know, wear something that doesn't have holes in it, and brush your hair. That's all I got to say about that. So, and girls, if you always wanted to do something fun, you know, go experiment with your clothes and go back in time and be classy and fun and sexy, because there's nothing sexier than a sultry woman who knows she's sultry and isn't arrogant or, you know, the other word. So I'm just going to leave it with that, I guess. Pourvu, March 13th, 8 o'clock. Bacardi, if you were listening, please, please, please end up doing this whole thing and sponsoring it, because it would be great to have your presence there. And I also was, like I said, contacted by a woman who makes these really cool gourmet cupcakes who may be present there as well. If you're interested in sponsoring a portion of the event, it's not going to cost a lot of money, but it would be great to have your presence there and just give all of the listeners a chance. And then if that happens, then of course the price will go down. So the more sponsors we have, the less it's going to cost. But right now, $50 a person gets you all the alcohol you can drink. And that's wine, beer, champagne for you ladies who like a bubble. We have top shelf liquors. So there's, of course, they're known for whiskeys and bourbons and scotches. And then, you know, martinis, margaritas, whatever. Really, it's it's all available to you. And then there'll be really good food and an amazing menu to choose from. So they don't make anything bad. The Houston Brothers do not do anything less than superb. So that I can guarantee. And then, of course, Sadie and the Blue Eyed Devils. And it looks like if all things get extended, I'm also going to be having a DJ there. So all I'm saying is you're going to have a good night. And if all works out, it's going to be a long night. So right now it's open bar from 8 to 10. But if you guys are interested in being a sponsor or we have things going, it could just be a completely closed night for everybody and our own private party. So 150 out there of you, go ahead and get your tickets because there's not going to be a whole lot of space, but it's going to be a really great group of people. And I'll be there. And Alexis will be there. And hopefully Arvin and the boys will be there. And, lots of good people. So, and there could be a few surprises by way of, people you'd want to see. So, not that you don't want to see me or us, but, I'm just saying. Anyways, that is it. I guess we're going to wrap it up for the day. Thursday, like I said, we're going to have a little bit of a heavy discussion, but we may change things up and lighten it up. I'm kind of going with the flow on Thursday. But thank you guys for tuning in. Have a really, really good Tuesday, and I'll talk to you on Thursday. Bye. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, this is your host, Dawn Garcia on ATOD Radio, savoring life one moment at a time.